So it finally happened. You got your new car. And after all the new wore off, you realize that the stereo was horrible. So now you want to replace it. And one of the things you're looking at is an amplifier. You want to make your subwoofers loud. You want to make your speakers have more presence and power. And the market is so full of amplifiers. There's so many. There's so many different features. You don't know what to do. You don't know which to get. You don't even know what to look for. And that's why you're here. And we're going to talk about that. Now, the first question we have to ask is, what kind of music do you listen to? And how do you listen to music? Because your choices in that department are going to heavily dictate what type of equipment you're looking for. Are you looking for something that's loud, crazy, big, huge bass? Or you just want something that sounds awesome and makes you feel like you're at a concert? Two totally different avenues.
We'll start with the basics. So, if you're wanting an SQ amplifier or an SQ stereo system, if you're wanting it to sound nice and blended and rich and full, have lots of power but not be overbearing in any way, you might be looking for a 5-channel amplifier, something like a 1000.5, 900.5, something where you've got 75 to 150 watts per channel, and then like a 500 to 750 watt subwoofer channel. That's a good combination. Something like that is going to get you a nice SQ setup so that it sounds good. It's not going to give you any serious impact on big, huge, window shaking bass, but it's going to sound nice, full, and rich, like a big home stereo system or a home theater sound. That's what you're going to get from that kind of a deal. You could also use two 2-channel amplifiers for your mids and highs and a single subwoofer amplifier, or a 4-channel amplifier for your mids and highs, and then a separate monoblock amplifier for your subwoofer. However, if you know you're never going to go much bigger than that, a 5-channel amp is usually a good solid choice, because it's only one point to where all your signals are going. You don't have a lot of extra wires running everywhere. So it's a good choice. But if you're wanting to build a big, 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 loud, window shaking, barn busting bass machine, well, usually you're better off going a slightly different direction. You're going to want to, first of all, get the box figured out in your vehicle, get the subwoofers figured out for that box, and then buy the amplifier to power the subwoofers that fit the box that fits your vehicle. So you have to get the other things in place first, then get the amplifier figured out. But what they both share in common is mids and highs amp. You don't need a whole lot of power on mids and highs to get them nice and loud. Those door speakers and those tweeters are going to come to life without a lot of power. 100 watts, 200 watts is going to do amazing things in the, vocals and drums and guitar department. So you don't have to go crazy with that. But it's always best to have more power than you need, and then turn the levels down. Have an extra power reserve in the amplifier, more than what you're actually using, gives reserve room for those dynamic hits. So the amplifier isn't running full tilt all the time, it's running here. When you get those big swells and hits, there's plenty of room for it to go to. It'll overall make the system sound better. Another thing you want to look for in an amplifier, besides all the normal stuff, is balanced inputs. And if the amplifier has balanced inputs, don't worry, it'll tell you in the information. They're going to be proud of the fact that they have balanced inputs. Balanced inputs help significantly with noise rejection. So it's going to make things sound better even in a bad install. And that's awesome. One of the things I'm partial to is Tiffany style RCAs. The RCAs that look like this, with the little bolt, the little nut around them. I like these better than the other board mounted ones. The reason is that these connections are mounted to this plate and then wired to the board, versus ones that have a board with these things soldered to it. See, if you take this, put wires on it, move them around, wiggle them, those board mounted RCAs can break loose from the board, the solder joints can break, and then you have a malfunction. With this type, since it's wired, mounted to this plate, then wired to the board, you don't have to worry about that. It's a lot more rugged and a lot more reliable. So you're looking for an amplifier that can produce more power than you actually plan on using. It needs to make 75% to 125% the amount of power RMS that your speakers are going to require. And you want one with Tiffany RCA. Another thing you're going to be looking for is a highly efficient amplifier. Unfortunately, it's kind of hard to tell how efficient they are without testing. So what do I recommend? I recommend look up Big D Wiz. He tests a lot of amplifiers, and he's a good source of information on how efficient, how much power that amplifier actually makes. Anybody running a good amp dyno is going to be very helpful in learning what you're buying before you buy it. And if that's not an option, buy from a reputable manufacturer and a reputable dealer, like Big Jeff Audio. If you buy one from Big Jeff Audio, be sure to use my discount code CAE. Save yourself some money. In fact, if you want to get some high-end stuff, check out B2 Audio at Big Jeff. They got some really nice amplifiers. Now, more power does not always mean better. Things like having a good signal to noise ratio, a high signal to noise ratio, that's far more important. High efficiency, balanced inputs, having the right amount of power and a little bit more, having it installed properly, having your gain set properly, having everything wired up right, using good oxygen-free copper wiring. These are all things that are going to matter more than how much power the amplifier is capable of producing. You see, contrary to popular belief, you can take really cheap equipment and do a good job of installing it and get something really good in the end and really worth having. That sounds amazing. Learn how to install or make good friends with someone who does.